Well, who's our demonstrator this evening, sir?
Well, we're gonna go to Crittenburg, Kentucky, and we're gonna go see Mr. Miller. Doug,
Doug Miller.
you're it.
He's not in Atlanta. I thought he was in Atlanta.
And then so
But
a
he's
little bit,
quiet.
you're muted. You're
Hear you, Doug.
you're
You're
muted.
muted.
Hey, everybody, one voice at a time, and I'll be that voice on letting Doug know that his camera is out of shot, he's muted and whatnot. Um, but a little bit of housekeeping. It's Doug's demo. Doug's going to show us how he's going to turn his piece that he's going to be doing tonight. It's going to be his way. We've all got our own styles. Um, if you have a question about what he's doing or how he's doing it, please hold those comments till the end of the demo, and then we can pester him with why he did this and why he didn't do that, and then you guys can let him know I would have done it this way at that time, not during the demo because it interrupts the flow of the demonstrator, and it just caused unneeded nerves or anything like that. And once again, if he goes mute or we got a problem with his camera, I will be queuing into him to let him know we don't need 50 people yelling and being impolite and saying, hey, Doug, do this. So without further ado, I'm going to mute everybody. Doug, um, you'll have to unmute yourself, and the floor is yours. Still don't have you. No sound. Oh no. Check your connections. It worked this afternoon, Doug. What'd you change?
Hold on. Here we go.
There we go. A little bit louder.
Okay. I don't know what was happening. I was showing open, but whatever reason, it was off. Anyhow, good to see everybody tonight. Before I get started, let me go ahead and do my gallery pieces. One is I made 5 of these. These are Slimline Pro click pins. I'll be putting those in the mail to Doug Rowe tomorrow so that he can pass those out. While I was in the pin mode, I made these 4 pins. These are they're called the Clever Click. I've never seen this before. I got the starter kit to try them out. It's a nice kit. I really like it. Got those from Wood Turnings. They're in Indiana. Very good company. Inexpensive. Primarily do the Penn State, but they get them more direct, not from Penn State, and a lot of times they get just a slightly better grade. So that's if you're not using them, that's maybe somebody you want to try. I'm not sponsored by them. I just like them. This is a desert olive bowl that I did. This was a core out of a larger bowl. I went through the mother bowl while I was coring this one out. And so this one came out nice. I've got a plan for the other one. Looking forward to working on that. I've shared with you several times. There we go. I shared with you several times. I in a group out of England or out of Great Britain. One of the guys there does a monthly hashtag week. This month his weekly hashtag was Oriental inspired. I wish. No, you can't see it like that. I need a light background to put that against. This has about a 1/2 inch foot down here on the bottom. It's been there. You can kind of see the foot. It's been polished up to a pretty good gloss. I need to work on it just a little more. The top been stained red with a black knob. The inside is just natural. Hackberry for the bowl. Matt, I know you like a hackberry. Here is Ronnie's construction pine. I've still got to take that tenon off of there, but other than that, that bowl is complete. So this is a Japanese style serving dish. Spent a lot of hours on the internet looking through Oriental inspired dinnerware to find that design. So anyway, that was that one. This month for Worldwide Woodturners, our emphasis is on platters. Here's a nice piece of maple with a bit of quilting in it. Got the back. Still have to take that tenon off, but other than that, again, it's done. That's a quick little job there. Piece of maple, and I bought a long board. This was about almost 2 foot long, and this wide. And so, and got it on sale. It was on the sale table when I went to Woodcraft the last time. I think I paid $7 or $8 for this board of quilted, or not quilted, but rippled maple. It came out pretty nice. When we were talking about what to do for demonstration, I thought, well, I'll do a platter for September. Here's the other half of that board. I cut 2 pieces. This was originally $32. Not, it was 9 by 20 is what it was. Inch thick. So I've already put a hole in the back side, or what will be the top side, for a worm screw, wood screw, whatever you want to call it. That heavy threaded screw that we put those things on. I'll kind of get it started here. I'm going to turn my speed way down, like to 100. There we go. Turn it on and back this way. Turn it on first, then I'm going to put this up there just to get it going. Oh, and of course,
Can you speak up there, Doug? Your mic is getting muffled.
am I still on? No. Yes. Am I still on?
Yeah, you're still on. You're still
okay.
on. When you're over by the headstock, you're muffled.
Yeah, there's a distance issue. I'm not sure what's causing it. I am. Trust me, I am. I may have to come up with another way of holding this. I did this when I did the other one. I did exactly the same thing, and everything worked perfectly. But of course, in a demo, everything goes crazy, right?
Yep.
I'll put a little super glue in that hole. Give it just a second or two. I'm going to try it again. Make sure I don't have a different screw here. And if I don't, I got another way of doing it. In fact, I may get it on here to decide I don't want to do it. Nah. No problem. No problem. So here's what we're going to do. Instead of using the worm screw, so whole thought was I'd have full access to the what will be the bottom side and put a recess in it. Instead, we'll do put a tenon on it. Here we go. Put it between centers and then put a tenon on it, and we'll be in great shape. Easy enough, right?
In theory.
Yeah, in theory. No, it is. It's easy enough. Change it. Put my
Hey, Doug.
Yes.
Doug, real quick, if you got a couple toothpicks, you could put the toothpicks there in your wormwood screw hole there, and then screw it in. It should hold for you.
Yeah, it's too deep.
Oh, okay.
The screw itself is too long, and so and the more I think about it, the more I think this is what I did with the other one, because I have to take a tenon off of it. So I must have done it this way. Must have done it this way. No problem. I know when I did the square plates, I did the wormwood, and the difference is the square plates were done out of 2x instead of 1x. This is, I guess you'd call this really 5/4. It's a full inch thick. That's not 100% square, but that's close enough for what we're going to do. There we go. There we go. Ruby's in the chat. She wants.
Day, and I had a whole.
Are we still there? We still good?
Yeah, still got you.
Okay. I've got a message saying my microphone's
You're
been
good.
changed. Okay. All right. All right. I've got my rings off. Put my face shield down.
Put my
We are between centers and tightly held. I'm going to bring my speed up. Everything's still good and solid. I'm at 900 RPMs here. Working with a 1/2 inch mold gouge, freshly sharpened. Simple full cut. Just trying to, I'm starting the process here. I'm getting it round, but I'm also starting to make my shape all at the same time. Without getting this rim completely flat, it's been good for a moment. Trying to work down toward the center just to get everything going here. All coming together quite nicely at the moment. All right. This plank started off at just shy of 9 inches in diameter. Go ahead. Continue to make it. Start taking the finish. Okay, well, this outer ring here that you can see, I'm going to make that my where my foot is, and so I'm going to, from the inside of that, I'm just going to make it nice and smooth across there, so that when I do come back and finish this bottom, I don't have nearly as much work to do. Full cuts and even push cuts, but again, these are finishing type cuts to get it done, so that I don't have a load of sanding. Now, I did find this maple is like a lot of other wood. It sands very, very nicely. Does it want to change? Dang, you didn't remind me. That's okay, you got it.
Wanted to see if you were paying attention.
Yeah, I wasn't. Coming in from the outside of that foot.
A little bit of an OG.
Cleaning out the rim as I get out there. Let's see if this makes things better. That's a little better, isn't it?
Yeah, makes no difference. It's good.
We'll finish the cut there to come out. So I'll drop down from the foot, come straight out toward the rim. And then right here, I'll start dropping.
Back out.
Okay, now that I've got that, I'm gonna get my skew. The only job I use skew for on this face spring piece. Come in and square up that foot or the tenon. That's it. You want to clean up that bottom edge, it's got the fuzzy hanging off of it. Before I start jerking that off, I'm going to stop and take a good look at it, make sure I got what I want. Okay, I've got a little ridge that I'm seeing right in here, and I want to make that foot just slightly more pronounced. I'm going to fix that, fix both of it. They said it right. This is just whatever there is, 80 some odd of us in tonight. There's probably close to that many different number of ways to turn a platter. Now, I'm not going to insult your intelligence and do all of the sanding. I am going to do just a little bit of it. This is starting with 100 grit. I often start with 60 grit. Just speeds up the process and gets everything even before I start the actual sanding. Not the actual sanding, the actual finishing part of the sanding. My whole idea is that by the time I get to the 240, all I'm doing is, by the time I get to 150, all I'm doing is knocking down the sanding marks from the sheet before. And then when I put my braces paste on after 340, it can really shine. It's not trying to take out anything. It's just a matter of cleaning things up. Little line, just outside of the foot. Normally with a bowl, my foot is about the size of the tenon. Where with a plate or a platter, I want it out more like 2/3 of the distance. So it's more stable. And that's just my preference. Some people put them out wider, some people put them in closer. See, that sawdust is getting finer and finer as we go along. We're up to 240 now. All right. Got that. Before I take it off, I'm going to come back over here, get this rim, get it finished up so that I don't have to come back to it. I'm going to do a couple of things. One, I'm going to round this little thing. Just like with a bowl, my emphasis of cutting has been from the center out, keeping the going with the grain so that I'm not going into it with the grain. As we like to say, sometimes going downhill. And then the edge, I'm just going straight across it, and then I'm going to come back and round that bottom edge over again. I'm going to take just a hair off the top edge as well so that I'm not fighting it as I get started. And just a light cut. That gives me an idea of where my rim will be. Oh, I can do it that way, obviously. Okay. All right, we're good there. Just need to turn it around. This is where I don't like to use. I don't like to use my drive centers in my headstock because I made a fatal mistake when I set this shop up and I put my leg too close to the wall. And so I've got to turn my headstock to get my knockout bar in. There we go. Easier. Not a hard job to turn it. It's just that I have to do it. It slows me down. All right. I think this chuck worked just fine. Not open for enough yet. I thought I was open for 24. There we go. That situation, I had the plate face down, put the chuck on there just to. I was letting the weight of the chuck actually hold it or hold itself down to get the good flat. Then I'm going to press on it again. Just make sure I'm good and tight. I'm going to do both holes. And we're running pretty true. So I like to turn my banjo off at an angle away from my work. That gets the holes down out away from the bedway so I don't hit my knuckles on it. And turn my speed back down, stand out of the way. Oh, yes. Run my speed back up. About 1600 RPMs. Couple of light cuts. Get started at the rim. Before we dive into it. right. Just giving myself an idea. I've been kind of watching the backside as well, so I know roughly where I am, and we got a good thickness to that point, good and even. So we can go on, kind of move on down the line. All right, looks like we're at a place now. Making a nice finish cut. Towards the end, I'm going to take a little more off. Tell you what's going on here. We've got a little bit of a bark inclusion right here. And so I'm going to come back and take a little more off of that rim well, I can leave you there. Bring the tool rest back around to the edge. That extra off. Well, I know what's happening with the microphone now. For some reason, it's switching between my headset and one of the cameras.
Yep. I think the battery is low in your headset. That's why it's not coming through good.
That's a possibility. It could be. Sometimes the only one to do is put battery high. That doesn't mean anything. I put my thumb on that edge and it got hot just like quick. Rounding those off again. Come back around to the front. Then we do about a final finishing cut going down through here. Huh. What do you think? Still concentrating on allowing that tool to do the work floating that bevel right all the way down to the center. And because of that, we get nice stringy angel hair kind of shavings off of there. There we go. All right, we got just a little bit of a flat here, which is what I intended. And it doesn't dive in, but it slopes in, goes all the way down to the center. So we have a plate, not a real shallow bowl. I'll turn the speed back down. 1600 will go down to their 750. And when I'm here by myself and I'm not worried about somebody hearing me or me hearing somebody else, this is my vacuum. I usually pull it right up close here, turn it on, and connect it to a shop vac. And you all know how loud a shop vac is. I do have my air cleaner on right across from me. And I'll still get touched at later tonight because that will float through the house. Doing this work, let's get it. You all know what this is. It's just a sanding mandrel with a bronze sleeve, magnetic bearing in the bottom so it doesn't fall out, stays in. I'm just letting the inertia of the wood turning against that sandpaper turn that piece. I've got it tilted just slightly open. It's on the outside, so I'm hitting. I'm looking toward the piece. I'm hitting with the sandpaper at about 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock. Allowing that sandpaper to come across the grain, not just down the sandpaper, but across the grain. The only place where there's any trouble with that is center.
Do it by.
Well, I don't know why it's doing it. That's exactly what it is. Going between my jobber and one of the cameras. Can't even tell you which camera it is. All right, here's the center done. That was with 100. We'll go to 150. That inertia thing flies out there on the edge. It flows down on the center, partly because there's just no speed in the center. The same RPM, but because it's a small spot, it just doesn't go very fast. I am about to move in new arbor. My arbor pad's trying to come off of my arbor. It does, when it does, I will put some glue on it. Keep going. And then Eddie and I have a good friend in Louisville, Kentucky who sells these things. He's pretty proud of them, but they're good ones. Vince does a good job. I've heard Eddie talk about this. Well, he does a good job with sanding products. And we'll take just a little bit more time with the sanding on the inside, because I want to do one more thing with this before I quit. That's all right. We'll be quitting on this piece. I've got a good bit of work to do on this piece yet. Okay. You'll get the gist of the idea. Just about.
It's gone. Better piece here.
Cord was longer, I would just put up my headset and I wouldn't have to worry about it. But I something I've been doing lately, and I'll just throw it out as an idea. I like to take my air hose and blow off the excess sanding dust. But then I like to do one more process before I do anything else to finishing. And that is to wash those pores out a little bit. I don't know who I first saw do this, but at first I thought, how silly. But once I tried it, did some experimenting with it, I've blown that out. That should be clean. But this is some denatured alcohol. That's all it is. No soap in it or anything like that. One, it lets you see the grain, but also where you can't see it, there's so much light. But that is kind of tan now. It pulled a lot of sawdust out of sanding dust out of those pores. And it dries, it's almost dry. That one little area right there, we took a little bit in it still. I want to shoot something so you can really see that grain. Ooh, that's what we're doing. Trying to make it see on what we're going to throw on here. Pull out my little airbrush makeup applicator. Right. I believe you have gotten a lot of questions already about that. This is a little, and I showed it to you all before a few weeks ago. About a $40 makeup application airbrush. Airbrush. You want some grain to really pop out, add some stain, the dye. This is a water-based dye. Intrinsic colors. I know Matt was about to ask. So what I'll do is give it just a couple of seconds to dry. It doesn't take long because it's water-based.
Doug, are you spraying them right out of the container?
I'm pouring it into the cup on the airbrush, man.
Right out of the container?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. There's no thinning or anything. That's what I was asking.
No, this is
Got it.
water-based, and so it really doesn't need anything. And it just dries that quick. And already I can see a multiplication of the ripple that's in there. It also has a good bit of chatoyance. When it goes dark and light again, as it spins, turn it back on at 750. And this is a piece of 150 sandpaper. And I'm no different from anybody else. I did not discover this on my own. I watched a lot of other people who've been playing with color a lot longer than I have. I don't do a lot of color, but I'm growing to like it more and more all the time. Kind of concentrating on that ring. I don't like that ring to be quite so pronounced. But this is basically the same process I used on that Oriental bowl. And in fact, I did it with black. I sprayed that top completely black, and then put a second and a third coat of stain on it, but I wanted it dark. And then sanded it back almost off. I left some toward the center, I left some toward the edge. But I wanted it dark, and then after I sanded it back, applied the red. I think there's 3 coats of red on there. And then I started putting clear finish on it. And I'll tell you guys the absolute truth. I thought I was getting, some of y'all been talking about the 3X. I thought that's what I was getting, except it only 2X. It's a totally different company. And I don't like the 2X. It's better than the other stuff I was using. I was using another product. It's an awfully good product, but it just didn't do the job I was looking for. And so I'm going to go back to my lacquer. It doesn't fail me ever. Some people have a hard time with lacquer. I understand that, but I don't.
Hey, Doug, we got a question in chat. Which color did you spray?
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say that. This was the intrinsic color plum.
Plum. Thank you.
Purple. Kind of a purple.
So let's save the questions for after the end of the demo so Doug can concentrate and get through his demo.
That does me just a little bit of dust. Open. Yeah, you can really see the ripple coming through, especially right through there. We take a little bit of we'll come back with some honey, which is a bit of a yellow. We'll take just a second to pour some water through my gun. Let it clean. Now, if this was alcohol based or oil based, I would want to spray it into a container or a paper towel. Because it's water based, I'm not too concerned with it. Somebody may come along and tell me or show me the evidence where that's a bad idea, but I'm spraying primarily water. I'm spraying it onto the floor, which is covered in shavings. So this is a honey. So right over the top of that. I may even come back after this. I may send it back just a little bit. Put some red over that, maybe. Excuse me. Right. There again. Yeah, you start to see the ripple all through here. Comes out pretty nicely. But I do think I need to work on the colors a little bit more. Not super happy with those at the moment. But you get the idea. You get the idea. The turning is pretty elementary, pretty simple. That's the word I'm after. And it's just a matter of watching what you're doing, thinking about what you're doing. Like I said, this was only an inch thick. It was very thin, to begin with. Any other questions there that we haven't hit yet?
Yeah, outside of the color, I didn't see anything else come through. Matt, did you see any other questions come through besides the color?
Nope, that was it.
Let's see if there's anything that jumps out after this. See what this is real quick.
Hey, Doug, what's the thickness on your plate there?
Now, at this point,
Yeah.
it is. I started at 1 inch. We are 5/8. It's pretty thin overall. Pretty thin.
Are you going to dye it back?
No, I'll leave the back plain. How's that for sunset?
Getting there.
Pull my brush away so it thins out the paint. There we go. Oh, y'all can't see it. There's a piece of grain right there that almost looks like a mountain. Very good, very good. Anyway, that's that. That's that. Plates are something we just don't think about doing. We think of the big vases. We think of the big bowls. Plates give us an awfully good opportunity for a canvas to do something a little bit different on it. And I just showed you a very simple, rudimentary something to do on it. Now, you want somebody to show you how to do airbrushing? Ruby Claire, I'm going to put you on the spot, maybe. She's an airbrusher. She can do it. Mine is very basic. Which red did you use? This one was the flame on this one. On the Japanese bowl, it was a ruby. I saw that question. Anything
Right
else?
on, right on.
The only
What's
question I have is are there characteristics about these that differentiate them from like a normal plate or platter? Is it the color scheme or the mechanism, or is the shape, or you know, what makes it different?
Nothing. Nothing.
Okay, sorry.
Are you meaning like the difference between a saucer, a plate, and a platter? Is that what you mean?
Well, I was thinking more like style, like you know, how would you say, okay, this is clearly, you know, a European derived piece of
Okay.
work, and this is clearly an Asian derived piece of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, this would be more Western instead of Eastern. The Asian inspired, they do some different things. They would have it really flat and then put a half inch to an inch foot underneath it, much like this bowl has. If I can get it where you can see it. That's a half inch foot underneath that bowl. As I was looking at the pictures on the internet, you know, there were some that had like 1.5 to 2 inch feet underneath. In Western Europe and in North America, we tend to have our dinner plates pretty flat for the most part. You know, they don't curl up on the sides very much at all. So, and that's really the only two differences that I saw in looking at platters and plates over the last week or so. If that answers your question, I hope.
Thank you for the observations. I appreciate it, Doug.
Yeah, yeah. But this one, like I said, it started out as at an inch, and we're, you know, maybe 5/8 now, 5/8, 3/4, somewhere right in that neighborhood. This rim does slope toward the top or in toward the top just a hair, not drastically. It's just a little bit to get a little bit of interest on the rim. I will come back, sand this rim so it's nice and clean all the way around. I don't have a lot of dye on this outside, but there is just a touch. But I'll sand that. This will get clear finish on the outside or on the top, probably lacquer. I will come back and sand the back side and take that tenon off, and there again put the same finish on the back that I put on the front, not the color, just the finish, and that'll be the end of that. So with that, unless there's more questions.
Very well. Thanks, Doug.
All right. You're so welcome. You're so welcome.